Hail Kingdom! This Huntress leveling build is super simple, strong and fun to play. You clear basic monsters just with one single button with Lightning Spear, but against bosses we will utilize secret technique, and this technique will allow us to basically one-shot them. This creates super interesting and fun to play loop. On top of it, it's super easy to get items for this build, and I will explain how to get this build straight to the endgame, but as always we start in act number 1. That's where we will get our first weapon. It will be Spear. Spear is the main weapon for Huntress, and it instantly comes with two different attacks. You can throw it as a range attack or you can use it in melee range. Also on the beach you will find Buckler, and that's a special shield that Huntress may use. And your first skill will be Whirling Slash. This skill is super cool, fun to use and combines well with Twister, but I played those in last season, therefore we will play completely different style this time. Also you may find this and all my other leveling builds for all characters in my Mobalytics, link in the pinned comment. Anyway, when we initiate this first boss fight, we instantly can see how weak Huntress is. I'm utilizing block. By blocking enemy and then hitting him, it's super easy to stun him. And also we deal a lot more damage, because it's not just block, it's actually parry, which comes with a buckler. There is a lot of Huntress skills that utilizing parry, but in reality, in game situations monsters are super fast and honestly it's hard to utilize this skill a lot. That's why we want something more usable and simple. So after defeating this boss we're going in town and getting our first uncut skill gem. And as bonus you may find this shopping list in a pinned comment. Just copy and paste it into trader's window. It will highlight items with added damage, with level to your skills and also with increased physical damage, as well as boots with movement speed and all armor pieces with bonus to maximum life. That's what we are looking for when we're starting out and throughout the campaign. First uncut skill gem will be crafted into explosive spear, but don't worry about this stuff yet. Basically we're running around doing 3 whirling slashes, and then when we exit this hurricane it will explode and deal nice damage to enemies. In this camp we will find another uncut skill gem. And now we got enough to tackle down bosses. And the first one will be exactly in the same location, in Clear Fell. This Beera is Witch, and you will easily destroy her by doing a bunch of whirling slashes, then hitting her normally, dropping explosive spear, and then exiting these whirling slashes. So that's a combination against bosses in early game. Explosive spear is a weird skill. Basically you need to place this down and wait a little bit, then it explodes and deal nice fire damage. And to increase damage even more, we will craft one more skill. This will be Frost Bomb. Frost Bomb will apply exposure to enemies and therefore we will deal a lot more elemental damage to them. By doing this combination we can easily beat bosses, and of course it mostly depends on your weapon. So right now I'm using starting spear without any bonuses. It takes a while, but if you got just increased physical damage on your spear already, you will feel a lot more powerful. Anyway, we get everything we need from the first location and we can go straight to the next one, Grelwood. In Grelwood there will be a lot more monsters, but by blinding them with our whirling slashes and using explosive spears in combination with Frost Bomb we will easily defeat them. But most importantly, you want to find this hut in this location to upgrade your flasks and also to defeat this rare monster, because she will drop you guaranteed support gem. I will use it to create rapid attacks. Rapid attacks will increase attack speed of certain skill, and I will use it on basic spear throw right now. Being able to attack from distance is more safer and reliable way to play in this point when we are pretty squishy. But don't forget to open every refined arm you will find in this location, because refined arms will guarantee to drop upgrade for your weapon, and this drop will basically double your damage right now. So if you're having any troubles, any struggles, just look for weapon upgrade and you will defeat this boss a lot more easier than you think on the screen right now. But actually after you defeat this boss, struggles are almost over, because he will drop uncut skill gem level 3. And instead of basic throwing attack, we will use lightning spear now. It's super easy and straightforward to use skill. You just throw lightning spear, and because it's lightning damage, you will be able to shock enemies. Shock will force enemies to take 20% extra damage. Also we're applying exposure with Frost Bomb. And now we're just running around, throwing spears at bosses and at basic enemies. In Grim Tangle Well, don't forget to defeat this mushroom boss, because he also drops guaranteed uncut support gem that we will use to instantly add lightning attunement to our lightning spear to increase our lightning damage. Cool news, our build is basically ready. Yeah, you will find bunch of support gems in upcoming areas, and you want to create tireless for infernal cry, more on that later, and also one more rapid attacks for explosive spear. Since build is ready, it's time to actually min-max and amplify our damage. I will craft Wing Blast from next skill gem, and it's super important. First of all, to use Wing Blast you need Talisman in your second weapon slot. You can buy it in town or you can get it just from random drops. Now when you fight enemies you will build up stun meter on them, and you will see the stun meter below their health if they are rare monsters, this yellow bar basically. When it's almost full it will be highlighted and also monster will be highlighted, and you want to use Wing Blast at this exact moment. This will grant you a power charge. After getting power charge, you want to use basic attack of Wyvern. This will spend power charge and you will get extra damage as lightning. I'm entering boss arena with power charges, and now I will just do basic Wyvern attack. I don't need to hit anyone, I just need to press a button. Before buff applied, our DPS is 62. After I attack and get this buff, my DPS instantly jumps to almost 90. This damage helps a lot, and we clear bosses a lot faster than we normally would with Lightning Spear. Just don't forget to utilize this technique in mid-fight against bosses. You will get these power charges and it will be enough to actually feed you 2 buffs in a row. And after beating few bosses, we will find next skill gem. I will craft Infernal Cry. It's the buff that I can get after using this skill near boss or near other enemies. It will empower next attack with extra fire damage, and it helps to use Infernal Cries and throwing explosive spear, and then just continue your attacking with lightning spear. We are pretty fast, powerful, and destroy bosses like this right now. After you beat boss in free turn, you will get spirit, and you want to craft raging spirits. Yes, it's weird, but you need this low level raging spirits spirit gem. Later, when you find one more spirit gem, you actually want to use your spirit to create Herald of Thunder. It will improve your clearing speed a lot. Anyway, after beating Executioner, you will get access to skill gems level 5. And that's the last piece of our puzzle for now. You want to craft Storm Lance. I will explain how the skill works and synergize with our kit a little bit later, because most important part right now is to find upgrade for your spear. You will find it when you reach level 11 and level 11 zones, so at this point you should already have upgrade. And I even haven't used this skill in the boss fight. I just used my basic combination, used this Wyvern trick to get more damage as lightning damage, and it was enough to defeat Count Gianor before he goes into his singing poem phase. And I played without this skill because I used my level 5 skill gem to craft Ember Fusillade. We will need it later. And that's where Frost Bomb will go into oblivion, because it will no longer work. It is just too low level, and we can't level up intelligence to keep up. This means now you're just forced to actually create Stormlance and use it. But most importantly, now you need to look for level 16 spear. You may find it on the shop, you may find it on the ground in the next areas. And if spear is good, you can even use your currency to get more mods, especially if you want to fill in prefixes for better damage output. If you follow this guide and upgrade weapon at correct points, you will have no trouble at all. You will blast through campaign and won't feel any danger from basic monsters, because you will basically clear screens with lightning spear. Not very true for bosses, however. Against bosses we will use Storm Lance right now. Super simple skill, you just drop it on the ground and it will create a little bit of lightning attacks on enemy for a duration. But if you use explosive spear on top, it will instantly detonate and deal nice damage in a blast. So my main combination against bosses is to prime them for stun them with Wing Blast, activate Power Charge to get my lightning damage, then Explosive Spear followed by Lightning Storm Lance, and then just attack. Yeah, that's our boss loop. Again, our build is kinda ready. You will find one more skill in the planner. It will be Primal Strikes. I use this skill against this boss particularly. Basically, when he is shocked, you can use Primal Strikes and it will consume shock, apply exposure, so boss will take a lot of extra damage, and it's kinda fun, but again, it's a lot of extra buttons added to our combination rotation, but honestly not a lot of reward in terms of damage dealt. Instead, I like to use our basic combination, and it's not super basic, but it's a lot more simple and a lot more effective, so I'm using it against these bosses right now. Explosive Spear followed by Storm Lance and just basic attacks, also using Inferno Cry every now and then to deal more damage with Explosive Spear or with Storm Lance, and that's basically it. My full combination with tech that adds a lot of lightning damage on top by utilizing Talisman and Wing Blast helps us to blast through the bosses pretty fast and pretty easy at this point of the game. For finishing this act, I decided to finish Trials of Sekimas and get my Ascendancy. Trials is not that hard and you can easily beat them with my setup, but now it's time to pick Ascendancy. And what Ascendancy should you pick? Actually, you can pick whatever you like, but I'll go for Amazon. Mostly because this branch in Ascendancy tree will give us a lot more damage against bosses, and as you can see, bosses is our main problem right now. If you will find a really good spear at around level 26, you can upgrade it. But near the end of Act 2, you will find barbed spears. They will drop exactly in this area. That's actually what you're looking for in terms of upgrade for a weapon, and if you find a good one, if you drop some currency on top, it will probably be nice and carry you throughout Act 3. For passive tree right now it's pretty simple, I'm just taking all attack damage nodes as well as a little bit of elemental damage nodes. The coolest combination over here is probably this. I'm taking this extra damage as cold damage from Monk part, and now I can apply Shock, Ignite and Freeze at the same time, or at least Chill, and this will increase our damage by 60%. And yes, boss fight right now is not crazy one shot as you saw in the beginning, but it will change when we advance through the game just a little bit. Right now you just need to avoid few attacks and throw bunch of spears. Do combination of Infernal Cry, Explosive Spear and Storm Lance, and this will be enough to defeat bosses. In third act we continue to play exactly the same style, without any changes, just look for weapon upgrades, try to get better armor with more life, and that's it. The only important part is this boss, because after defeating her you will get extra spirit and one more uncut spirit gem. Instead of getting some protective spirit gems like Wind Dancer, we will go for pretty weird pick. It will be summon Raging Spirits. Yes, remember, we crafted the spirit gem in Act 1, and we did it to lower requirements for intelligence. So now we can finally activate it. Still, there will be no changes to the build until end of the act. This way we can craft Elemental Sundering, and that's our binding point for our final build. Basically, when you use Elemental Sundering, you drop your spear into the ground, and it will consume all elements from enemies. We can easily freeze, we can easily shock, ignite our enemies, and that's basically the key. We shock enemy, we do this elemental spear, you're seeing it right now on the screen, and it consumes enemy and deals nice chunk of damage. Multipliers is actually pretty insane, it goes to thousands of extra damage. Problem, however, that we need to constantly reapply the status effects, then consume them and then reapply them again, and that's basically the loop right now, and it doesn't look really crazy. But everything will change in Act 4, that's where will ascend to our final form. Of course, we don't need to beat any ascendancies, but we need bunch of pretty rare currency items at this point. Mostly it's Juveler Orbs to create extra sockets for skills, and also uncut support gems tier 5. It's not mandatory though, you can continue playing pretty normally and feel fine and slowly build towards this final form, or you can start trading more aggressively and get bunch of support gems early on to activate this style. I will explain how it works right now. Also, you will notice that I'm starting to allocate points for different weapon sets in my passive tree. This set is actually for one single weapon, but one of them for critical strike, one of them for attack speed. And for critical strike, I'm using only Elemental Sundering. Other skills go on attack speed skill set. So that's how our tech will work. We will use Thunderstorm right now, and this will drench enemies. Drenched enemies will be always shocked if we're using support gem Shock Conduction, which will basically guarantee to shock enemies who is drenched right now. By adding Overcharge support gem, shocks will be reflected back at us. But not back at us, it will actually be reflected back at Raging Spirits, which are using exactly same support gem combination with Last Gasp, so they alive a lot more. Also, I'm using Ember Fusillade with Living Lightning, Shock Conduction and Overcharge at the same time. Ember Fusillade will create bunch of fireballs, and every fireball will have added lightning damage because I'm using Essence of the Storm from the Monk part of the passive skill tree. By adding extra lightning damage, we basically guarantee to create loads of living lightnings when we attack with Ember Fusillade. It creates a bunch of Ember Spirits, Raging Spirits, it creates a bunch of living lightnings. All of these guys counted as minions and they always shock and reflect shock back at them. And then when I use Elemental Sundering, it basically doing blast with millions and millions of damage by consuming this shock. Sometimes you will be lucky and you will land critical hit with this attack and it will just melt bosses in seconds. So let's fight boss, and that's how you want to use this combination. I'm using Thunderstorm, then casting Ember Fusillade, and then slowly avoiding attacks and doing this Elemental Sundering skill. But what you want to do in reality, do all the skills together in one single fast combination. Basically, cast Ember Fusillade, create a load of fireballs, and while you're waiting for them to unleash, cast Thunderstorm, and then almost instantly go for Elemental Sundering. It will look like this, and it basically melts bosses in seconds. Of course, don't forget to Infernal Cry before you're using Elemental Sundering for even more fire damage. It's a really fun and interesting way to play. Do your combination right, and you will probably one-shot bosses in most cases. For example, this bird stood no chance. I instantly loaded Ember Fusillade and bam, she's out. At least almost. Yeah, don't forget you can basically spam Elemental Sundering and do few attacks in a row. What about basic monsters and basic clear? Well, we clear them basically as we cleared them throughout the game. We're still using our Lightning Spear and it feels great, it looks great, it's nice to play. Let's double check all support gems for final form. Raging Spirits with Overcharge, Shock Conduction, our basic combination to reapply shock on themselves, while enemies is drenched by Thunderstorm. And also there's Last Gasp on Raging Spirits, so they stay alive longer. On Thunderstorm there's Shock Conduction 2, Lightning Exposure, Potent Exposure, and Blazing Critical. Blazing Critical is not really important, you can live without it. But basically Thunderstorm will not only shock enemies but also apply exposure for even more damage to them. Then when you get extra spirit in interludes, Wolfpack is your choice, especially if you got extra spirit on top to activate it. Or you can use Wolfpack only on weapon set number 2, where is your Elemental Sundering, while still using Herald of Thunder on your weapon set number 1 for clear speed. For Wolfpack again we're going with the same combination as for any other minions, Overcharge, Shock Conduction and Last Gasp. And now our bread and butter, Elemental Sundering. We will use Elemental Armament 2, Elemental Focus, Closed Combat and Pinpoint Critical. So that's my combination to deal as much damage as possible, and yeah, I'm trying to stand as close to boss as possible by using Elemental Sundering, but I don't think it's really important because our minions is near the boss, so it should deal more damage because it applied in a close combat no matter what. For Lightning Spear I got additional support gem that we never used before, it's NERFED, and it's super easy, straightforward, it will add extra damage as lightning damage when we defeat shocked targets, and we will do all the time, so it increases our clearing speed a lot. Ember Fusillade, you already know it, Living Lightning, Overcharge and Shock Conduction. And for Infernal Cry I'm using Tireless, Raging Cry, Exposing Cry and Cooldown Recovery. You don't need all of these gems to make the build work, it's just extra damage layer on top, so you can get away with just Raging Cry and Tireless. Cooldown Recovery will also help. And if you get extra spirit later in the game, you want to actually craft Wind Dancer for extra protective layer. And for Herald of Thunder, our support gems is Elemental Armament, Elemental Focus and Pinpoint Critical, again just for clearing speed. This league starter is super fun, super easy to play, it takes a little bit to actually get going for final form, but without it it's ready and it's online even from the end of Act 1, and you technically don't need to change anything. Still, I like to have this extra tech to almost one-shot bosses with Huntress, but with good gear we can actually just melt them in matter of seconds, and it will definitely help when we're joining maps. I hope you enjoyed this build and you will have blast playing it. Don't forget to drop a like and make sure to subscribe for more Pulse of Excel 2 content.